The floodgates for the Dallas Stars offense have opened, and it is oh so glorious. The Matt Duchene line cannot be stopped. The first career NHL goal for Oscar Beck, and plenty more in a 7-2 victory over the Bruins.
You're Locked On Stars, your daily podcast on the Dallas Stars. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Howdy, Stars fans. I'm Joey Erickson, former producer of 105 Through the Fan. Please be sure to subscribe. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. And as always, thank you so much for making us a part of your day and making us your first listen. Back-to-back games with a touchdown for the Dallas Stars offense. A convincing 7-2 victory over the Boston Bruins tonight, completing the season series sweep and remaining perfect at the American Airlines Center this season. A perfect 7-0 on home ice for the Dallas Stars. Welcome to a post-game reaction here on Locked On Stars. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Hit the notification bell. Never miss an episode. Drop a comment and drop a like as well. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Another offensive explosion for the Dallas Stars this week. And boy, has it been much needed for the Stars to get rid of some of the frustrations in terms of executing in the offensive zone. And just like that, the past two games, 14 goals in the last two, and a pretty dominating performance in the second period for Dallas. 3 goals in the middle frame, lifting them over the Bruins tonight. And my main takeaway is Matt Duchene. Holy cow. Matt Duchene is playing the best hockey we have seen from him in a Dallas Stars uniform. And he was pretty good in large portions of last season. But what we're seeing from him is just a different animal. He looks comfortable. He looks confident. He is the driver of that line. And that trio cannot be stopped. This is the Pav line from a few years ago. This is incredible stuff we're seeing from Marchment, Seguin, and Duchene. And by the way, congrats to Tyler Seguin. Picked up 800 career points with his assist on Matt Duchene's first goal, which was a weapons-grade missile up high on Seguin. Seguin did not have the best night, as you could imagine, but Dallas did not make his life easy. And the final goal to cap it off is just so symbolic of what that line does. Duchene drives it into the offensive zone. He pulls up. It creates time and space for himself. He takes on a couple of Bruins defenders, slips it over to Seguin, and then Marchment for the one-timer. Swayman had no chance, and good night, Jim Kite. Have fun on the flight back to Boston. An incredible, incredible evening from that line. And that's my takeaway. The best bargain in the NHL. He has been absolutely brilliant this season. Picks up another 2 points. Of course, he leads the Stars in that department. I mean, just look at the trio alone. Their Corsi for percentage was 70%. They ended up with 7 scoring chances in the game, and they only allowed 3 against. Like, they are doing it in all 3 zones. The way they move through neutral ice as well is almost mesmerizing because of how shifty and skillful Duchene still is to be able to weave around traffic, weave around defenders, and just create time for guys like Seguin. And, Seguin can still score. He can score the pill. He doesn't move like he used to, but if you have Marchment on that line that is banging bodies, he's physical, he's getting involved, he's active. Duchene can do the rest, and we're seeing a lot less of the turnovers, and we're seeing a lot less of the unnecessary dangles by Duchene is what I would say. I feel like last year there was a lot of dancing, there was a lot of motion, but nothing was happening. Right now, it's with a purpose. And that line, every time they're on the sheet, they're making something happen. And it's so fun to watch. And it completely kind of glosses over huge nights from Evgeny Dodonov, by the way. There's a lot of Stars fans coming after him and wanting him to get moved off of and moved away, traded. Dodonov has been, I think, pretty decent this season. And the Stars have needed him because there are some other guys you should be pointing the blame towards first rather than Evgeny Dodonov, okay? Dodonov has been fine. Scored a nice penalty shot goal here tonight, and he picks up another. He's been excellent. I think he's been really, really good. And they need him to just fill in spots right now. Why some guys are starting to find a rhythm. Rope gets on the board. Hopefully that kind of opens up his game as well. I thought Jason Robertson was more noticeable tonight. In both zones, he had a really nice defensive play late in the third period when Boston started to pick it up and started to join the contest once Dallas had made it 6-1 to that point. Thought he was noticeable. But you look, each line got involved. Rope, Marchment, Dodonov, Oscar Beck with his first career NHL goal, the little pull cue shot over the blocker of Seguin, beauty for his first career goal as he goes home with a souvenir, and he checked back into the lineup for Maverick Bourque, and he's just been steady. 24 years of age. He has been exactly what you want out of a center iceman. Had a beautiful play. I think it was in the first period, tracking back checking, filling a lane, taking away a pass, and then Dallas went the other way. I thought there was a lot of that tonight. There was a lot of Dallas tracking back to their own net, working hard to mark Bruins, getting in passing lanes, take away some of those options. And look, the first two periods were not as close, and the score's probably not indicative of really how Boston played in the game. I thought they played a lot better. They got onslaughted towards the end, and that second period didn't help. But I mean, the Bruins are only down by 1 heading into that second period, and the Bruins had their looks. If you look at the first period, Bruins dominated at 5-on-5, 60%, Corsi Ford percentage. They ended up with 11 scoring chances in that first period. They had 26 total. So, and a lot of them were high quality. Each team ended up with, 9 high danger scoring chances in the game. So it wasn't like it was just a complete dominant performance for Dallas. I thought the Stars actually looked a bit better in the game in Boston last month. And a large part of that was the penalties Boston took, and Dallas scored 3 power play goals, and Boston never got into a rhythm. The Bruins had a nice first 20 minutes, and you could argue they probably should have had a lead. But, Dodonov gets the penalty shot goal and the Duchene goal early, but they got one late from Charlie Coyle off a bad turnover at the blue line for Dallas, and the Stars got tracking back. And Coyle was able to beat Jake Ottinger, who was very sharp early, and he had to be. The expected goals against, don't quite have those numbers. Let's look here on hockey stat cards, because I thought he was pretty busy. They don't have any of those numbers quite yet, so I'll have to come back to that when we have them. But Dodonov graded out the best with a couple of goals, 3.50 game score. Marchment, Seguin, Duchene are right behind him. I mean, the line's been brilliant. The line has been so good. And look, they're a huge part of why the offense has been as consistent as it is. If you take this line out, like, we have discussed the Stars' struggles. We have discussed them quite a bit offensively last week. If you take this line out, it's probably it is poor. If you didn't have this line, this offense is like, it's a big drought. This one, they could work through a bit, and they have worked through it. And, they weren't going to be held in check that long. They are too talented, and they play a Pittsburgh team that has a lot of issues. Boston has their own issues, right? I think Boston's sort of in a similar boat. They're kind of top heavy. They have big physical defensemen Their back end played better tonight than they did in Boston, but Dallas is just too quick, too hungry on the forecheck. I thought the goal by Stankoven, which he's got 4 on the year now, I mean, just give him the Calder. Give him the Calder. It was great representation of a hungry Stars forecheck, forcing a turnover. They get up high. Miro, Harley, boom, you get the shot. Create havoc in front. Swayman doesn't know where it is. Stankoven, boom, elevates and celebrates. Just great work from that line. Good to see that as well. Ben delivered a big check behind the net. I think it was in that second period. And he's probably fortunate it wasn't a major, but it ended up being boarding. And well, I guess it was a major. Well, you had to add on the fighting major, but it was only a 2-minute power play for Boston, and they didn't necessarily have a ton of great looks on the power play. Both special teams units go 0 for 2, except the 2 power plays were late in the game for Dallas in this third period, and it was already over by then. But I mean, the floodgates have opened. And again, I mean, Matt Duchene's my biggest takeaway. Just incredible. You watch 95 out there, he's just flying around. And teams just do not have an answer for it. They don't have an answer for it. And as much as I would love for Robo and Rope to get going, they're maybe taking some of the better matchups. They garner a lot of attention, and they should. And it allows the Seguin line to just dominate the opposition. And it just seems like night after night, they are at the forefront of the Stars' attack, and they get it going again. And in combination with Jake Ottinger, they've been tough to beat at home, and they're now 7-0. They're 7-1 total if you count the Global Series game, but 7-0 at the American Airlines Center, and it's big stuff. Big stuff for the Stars, and just, I mean, great nights all around. Awesome to see Oscar Beck get his first career goal. He's come so close a few times, and he's played really good. He's played really solid this season, and it was nice to see him get rewarded, and the Stars bench was just elated. It was a big goal at that point. I mean, it made it 4-1, and just great stuff all the way around from Dallas. I mean, outshot him 38-25. I thought they were really good through neutral ice. They had their moments in their own zone, but Otter bailed them out a few times. He made a fantastic stop. I can't remember who it was on in that first period where he had to get over to his right. I think it was Coyle, actually, who ended up scoring a goal in the game, but I can't believe Otter even got to that one-timer Coyle was set up with. And yeah, I mean, another touchdown for Dallas. It's a bit better than what the old Dallas Cowboys can muster up lately. And, it's a huge confidence builder. But again, look, we have a test now tomorrow against Minnesota, which is going to be it's going to be a good contest and a good measuring stick game. Again, on Saturday for Dallas. So we'll see how they fare. But let's talk about the D pairs again, because Matt Dumba was a healthy scratch, and DeBoer liked their D pairs on Monday. I would assume he probably liked him again tonight, which makes it really curious for Matt Dumba to get back in the lineup. We'll discuss more in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get that hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Today's episode is also brought to you by Select Quote. The World Series, Super Bowl, the Olympics. The world's top athletes get to play in these top-level sporting events thanks to one thing, teamwork. And teamwork can also protect your financial legacy and your family's future. Select Quote's licensed insurance agents are the perfect teammates when shopping for customized, affordable life insurance. They can find you the right policy to keep your financial legacy safely in your family's end zone. Select Quote is one of America's leading insurance brokers with nearly 40 years of experience helping over 2 million customers find over $700 billion in coverage since 1985. You invest so much time to take care of yourself and to be the healthiest, best version of you. Select Quote's exclusive policies can reward that effort. If you are in good health, they work with carriers that could get you same-day coverage for up to $5 million, no medical exam required. Get the right life insurance for you for less at selectquote.com/lockedonnhl. Go to selectquote.com/lockedonnhl today to get started. That's selectquote.com/lockedonnhl. Post-game reaction coverage continues here on Locked On Stars. This will go up tonight on a Thursday for those of you that went to bed. Good morning and welcome to a beautiful Friday. I actually have a crossover episode along with Locked On Wild planned today. That will be out a bit later on. It could possibly already be out. So be sure to check that one as we preview Stars Wild for Saturday night at the XL Energy Center. A big one for the Stars. But to bring it back to tonight's 7-2 victory over the Bruins, DeBoer was asked pregame about Matt Dumba again, and DeBoer said he liked the D pairs on Monday, and he thought they were really solid. You know, Brendan Smith has actually been pretty damn good for Dallas, and he picks up an assist tonight, and had a couple the other day against Pittsburgh. Has actually been pretty solid defensively. He's been another pleasant surprise for me on the back end. That was a move that didn't get a lot of hype, and rightfully so. It's not like Smith is going to be a game breaker by any sense, but he's giving Dallas some good minutes lately. And, you know, Dumba's another healthy scratch, but if this continues, it's going to be hard for him to crack the lineup on a consistent basis, because frankly, what does Dumba give you that Smith doesn't at this point? But besides Matt Dumba is a right shot, I don't know if you're missing a lot with having Brendan Smith in the lineup. And I think Matt Dumba's an okay player, right? I think he's okay. But you know how I felt in the offseason after the signing. It was just like, okay, I get it. Not really, but I get it. They needed to bring in a right shot defenseman. And, you know, he's had some moments, but Esselindell and Miro have been a match made in heaven, which is not a surprise. Harleen Labushkin has just been so steady. Niels Lundqvist has been so steady. Again, not talking about him enough. Like, Niels has been so damn good this season, and he has gained a lot of trust. And from the pregame conversation ahead of tonight with DeBoer, you know, it seems like, you know, Niels Lundqvist is sort of out of the doghouse now. They're not worried about him at all, which is a good sign. You look at the total time on ice, and again, it's a 7-2 win. It's not going to be indicative of every game, but Harley over 23.5, Miro just under 23, Brendan Smith played just under 16.5, along with Lundqvist, and those are great minutes if you can get Niels and Smith somewhere around 17 minutes a night. And again, it's a 7-2 win. They're just nursing a lead. They're going to play a bit more, but I I think this is the combination you kind of roll with for now. And DeBoer mentioned he liked the sturdiness of it. I think it gives him a nice six defenseman that they can rely on and trust. And I don't know if the staff is really trusting of Matt Dumba right now, or at least what he's giving them, because we haven't seen it work perfectly with Miro like we kind of hoped it would. It wasn't happening. And you look at what's happened over the last few games, and I know he's out of the lineup, so it's confirmation bias, but you just look at the way Dallas has sort of moved the puck. The offensive display from the defenseman has been a lot better recently. Harley gets a point, Lindell with one, Smith. Like, the defense is getting much more involved in the offensive attack. And again, Stars have played Boston and Pittsburgh. They're maybe not the best teams or the most lethal, but I mean, you put up 14 goals in 2 games against anybody in the NHL. That is damn good. That is extremely good. I don't care how you want to slice it up. They like him. I like him too. I don't see any reason to go against it. And like, Dumba's just not one of your best. He's just not one of your 7 best defensemen or 6 best defensemen right now. I think that's just plain and simple how to put it. He's not one of the best 6. Niels has been better. From what we've seen from Smith over the last few games, he's been better. And we all know with the other 4, like, they've just been better. And maybe it's not fair to Dumba as well, because he is playing, alongside Miro. They're putting him in that top 4. I think if they put him on that third pair, he could be more successful. But he's just simply has not been one of their 6 best defensemen this season. So we'll see how long they just stick with it. Dumba is a free agent signing. They have handed him a good chunk of change, which raised a lot of eyebrows, including myself in the summer. And I had someone on X say, do I smell a buyout coming or a trade? I don't know about a buyout. Just 16 games into this thing now. But, towards the trade deadline, he could be an interesting piece to possibly move. It's still early to give up on him. Okay. But I will say I don't have a lot of faith in him getting his game back. And we talk about this on the crossover episode with Seth. So be sure to tune into that, because he asked me point blank about Matt Dumba. But yeah, to put it simply, he's just not one of the best defensemen right now. One of the 6 best defensemen on Dallas. So yeah, keep rocking along with it. If you're going to produce 7-2 victories every night, which is not going to be the case, you're going to be just fine. Okay, let's wrap up this 7-2 conversation. Want to touch on a few more takeaways from tonight's game, and we'll go ahead and kick you off into a weekend. We'll do that in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in award winnings, PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on PrizePicks. You can go ahead and get involved. Download it. It's free. It's available on the Google Play Store, on the App Store. Use code LOCKEDONNHL and get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 bet. You can get in on the action on the hockey board. Nathan McKinnon for more than half a goal. Evander Kane more than 1.5 hits. Those are the types of props you can choose. And if you hit, you can make money. Download the app today. Use code LOCKEDONNHL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. So back-to-back wins for the Dallas Stars, defeating the Bruins by a final score of 7-2 tonight. Minnesota beat Montreal 3-0. So Dallas still trails Minnesota by 5 points in the Central Division. Winnipeg actually fell tonight against Tampa Bay. So the Stars are now 10 points behind Winnipeg with a couple of games in hand. So Saturday's game is a big one. You got to beat teams within the Central, and it's another team that is flying on all cylinders. Kaprizov is a Hart Trophy favorite right now, and for good reason. Had a goal and an assist tonight. So, Stars are going to have their hands full against an offense, again, like Boston and Pittsburgh do not have the offense that Winnipeg and Minnesota have right now. Like, this is another real test. Otter's going to get the start in his hometown. It's a great opportunity and sort of a chance to make a statement and set a tone, because I know a lot of Stars fans, including myself, are going to put some stock into this. Where it feels really good to just beat the snot out of Boston and Pittsburgh. You win Saturday in any fashion, you're like, okay, they're looking good now. They're on the right track. I would say they're on the right track because they haven't risen to the occasion, as Pete DeBoer has put it, against some of the better opponents this season. So I'm really looking forward to it. And, it's not like Dallas dominated 5-on-5 tonight against Boston. The third period's a bit of an anomaly because of the score. But, in the second period, 70% Corsi for percentage at 5-on-5. The Bruins actually had 60% in that first period. And as I mentioned at the top of today's episode, they had 9 scoring chances to actually make it 10 at 5-on-5. I thought they had some better looks. And again, can make the argument should have been, 4-3, 3-2 after that first 20. There was a lot of good looks for both sides. And Boston was getting interior multiple times. And, Minnesota is going to challenge Dallas because they have a lot more speed, especially defensively. They will stretch the ice out. Kaprizov is just brilliant right now. This is a big game, to say the least, on Saturday. But to a few more takeaways from tonight's contest. Ottinger has been unbeatable on home ice this season. Again, I come back to the Seguin line. I really do. It's just every single time they're on the sheet, they are creating something. And they do it in multiple ways. It's something I wish you could see out of other trios for Dallas. Like sometimes it's defensively and it's with a few quick passes out of their own zone. Sometimes it's on the transition. Sometimes it's odd man rush. Sometimes it's the forecheck, creating turnovers beneath the opposition in line. Sometimes it's getting interior, going to the net. Sometimes it's, snapshots, you name it, one-timers, just bludgeoning rebounds home. They do everything, and they do the details right. They do the little things right that lead to goal-scoring opportunities. And hopefully that's going to start spilling over into, the Johnstons of the world, and Rope and Robo. And I thought Robo had an active game. It was good to see him be in the fray tonight. So another huge win, obviously, for Dallas. You're never going to apologize for a huge 7-2 win, no matter who it is. And now they have a chance for another big game in the Central Division. So we'll see how that works out. It's the first time in franchise history, by the way, that the Stars open up the season with 7 straight wins at the American Airlines Center. A great picture of Oscar Beck holding his first career NHL goal puck as well. I'll go ahead and retweet that on the X. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, follow Locked On Stars on X. One final nugget to leave you today, just to talk about, kind of puts a bow tie on this one against Boston. 7 goals, 6 different scores, 11 of the 12 forwards and 14 of the 18 skaters for the Stars registered a point. The depth is producing. They have the depth. It's being productive now. It's always a good sign. And if you get goaltending like you did tonight, Stars are going to win plenty of games this season. Alrighty, that wraps up a post-game reaction episode for you on Locked On Stars. As always, thank you so much for the love and support. Like, comment, subscribe, follow us, leave us a 5-star review, you name it. You can follow me on the X at Joey the Jet 19. Have a great rest of your night. Be sure to check out the Locked On Wild, Locked On Stars crossover to preview the Saturday game against the Minnesota Wild. Have a great day. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you on Monday. So long, Stars fans.